I did talk once or twice with our state president, and it just, as things progressed and I got more concerned, it was mainly, there were people in the ward, but I was mainly trying to talk to other family members to try to stop what was happening.
What was happening from your perspective?
I was just being told how this preparing of people and this prepping.
Judge, I'm going to object. There's no foundation in its hearsay.
Sustained.
May I argue?
On that answer, it's sustained, Mr. Wixom.
Okay. Do you have any personal knowledge of things that were happening that was causing you to have those concerns?
I was hearing things about.
Judge, I'm going to object. It's hearsay.
Wixom.
I'll ask a different question, Judge. Without referencing anything that anybody told you, can you explain the types of things that you'd learned about that were concerning you about what was happening?
Judge, it still constitutes hearsay unless there's some establishment of where the source of this information is coming from.
Judge,
go ahead, Mr. Wixom.
Under 8033, it goes again to her state of mind. I'm asking her to explain her state of mind.
Judge, this has nothing to do with state of mind. This has everything to do with reciting what someone else may have told her.
Still, the way that question was asked, Mr. Wixom, I don't think 8033 gets around the hearsay issue, so you can continue with another question. It's sustained.
Thank you. So, ma'am, were you personally aware, that is, did you have knowledge, make observations, not hear from other people? Were you personally aware of any situations in your ward or stake that were occurring because of Chad's activity?
Again, through other people telling me what was.
Judge, I'm going to object.
We'll withdraw, Judge.
Okay.
Is it fair to say, Ms. Daybell, that as you sent that letter out and did make your efforts?
Judge, I'm going to object. This is leading.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Mr. Wixom.
Thank you. Is it fair to say that given you sending the letter out and making those efforts, that has come up at a cost to you and the rest of the Daybell family?
Judge, I'm going to object. Relevance.
Overruled.
Answer.
There was initially, yes, there was a cost that I was just trying to create problems for Chad.
And I'll ask this question. Did those efforts cause damage to the relationship that you had with the rest of the Daybell family?
Yes, it did.
And is that damage part of the reasons why you no longer talk to his children?
Yes.
Is that your choice, or would you rather be able to talk to his children and to get along with the family?
Judge, I'm going to object. Relevance.
Sustained.
You're all right. I have no further questions.
All right. Mr. Pryor, cross-examination.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Daybell.
Good afternoon.
You initially spoke to Police Officer Mattingly on about February 11th of 2020. Do you remember that?
I do. My memory is hazy because I had just had a surgery and I was still on pain medication. So I don't have as vivid memory of that.
Okay. Well, do you recall your husband was there as well, right?
Yes, he was.
Okay. So you remember that. Now, do you recall a discussion about concerns you had about Chad and using the Salem church when you discussed that with Officer Mattingly?
I do recall having that concern that he was doing his writings inside the church building.
And you do recall that you told Officer Mattingly that the concern was that he, like you said, he was using the Salem church every day. He was going there almost every single day to use it as a place where he could write whatever he was writing, correct?
I don't recall saying every day, but I would notice his car there often as I had to drive by.
And when you say vehicle, you said car, but it was actually a black Dodge truck, was it not?
I recall more their other vehicle. Tammy drove the truck from my remembering more than Chad did.
Okay. Is that what you remember?
That is.
And what color was the vehicle that that Chad was allegedly driving at this church that you would see?
It was a dark color.
Okay. You don't recall telling Officer Mattingly that it was a truck?
I don't recall that. And I remember Tammy driving the truck more
Okay.
than Chad driving. The
Okay.
truck.
Now, you said that Chad started talking about these issues about visions and what you would consider unconventional beliefs. Is that, you recall that in 2014?
Yes,
And yet he continued to maintain his membership within the LDS faith, right?
he did.
Okay. And Tammy continued to maintain her relationship within the LDS faith, correct?
Yes,
And even though he was writing these books, he was active in all of the meetings, the necessary callings that come as part of being a member of the LDS faith, correct?
yes,
And in fact, on his particular ward up until 2019, he was a secretary or an undersecretary in a position within the church hierarchy, was he not?
yeah. It's called executive secretary.
Executive secretary.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. And that position would be the position in Fremont County